This is our last formal question. Then we will start the questions that come from you. It's a good time for you to complete your questions and get them to Paul as we present our final question, which is a very difficult one. Not that all of them haven't been, and they've answered them beautifully. This one, however, is really difficult. Given that we are in a period of hard economic times, please list your top 3 areas to fund and the top 3 areas to cut. Jessica?
I feel that we need to be open-minded when looking at the budget, and we need to be creative. This is not a decision that one person can make. I don't have a preset agenda for the board, and I think when we make budget cuts, the board needs to look at cuts without any preconceived ideas. We need to ensure that our students have access to the arts, sports, and vocational classes, in addition to traditional classes such as math, science, history, and English. Art classes, including music and drama,
offer courses on alternate years, and we also have class minimum sizes. So we do cut classes if there aren't enough students, or we offer them alternately. This for me was an easy question to answer because I do have a few priorities that I am insisting that we focus on, and one of those is safe schools. I think we can't make cuts in safety. The other is teachers. For me, that's the number one important thing to have in our schools is teachers. And then we need to keep the affordable programs that draw students into our district so that we can stop the students from leaving the Beloit schools. I can't be specific about cuts without teacher and staff input. I've requested several times, the board as a whole has requested several times, to have some sort of way to get input from teachers and staff, because that's the only way we can make these decisions. We hear from parents. We don't hear enough from parents, but we do hear from parents. We really don't hear much at all from teachers and staff. And I actually worked to change a policy 522, the Code of Ethics, that said the teachers cannot, basically it said that they couldn't call the board until a last resort. And I changed that so the teachers could call the board anytime they want, because we are their representatives as well. And I would like to hear more from them, but I would like our administration to actually orchestrate that, and so we can get the proper input. It's impossible for 7 board members to make budget cuts without this input. And it's irresponsible of us to make budget cuts without this input.
Thank you, Pam. Our question once again is, given that we are in a period of hard economic times, please list your top 3 areas to fund and top 3 areas to cut. Missy.
My underlying principle in making any budget cut is that the cuts should be as far away from the classroom as possible. However, not having been on the board, it would be very difficult for me to recommend cuts in any specific areas without knowing the effectiveness of various programs, without knowing all of the legal and contractual requirements of the district, and without knowing the budgets for specific programs. I could not make responsible choices at this time. I know some people have their favorite programs and wouldn't want them cut. Others feel that if a program isn't serving many students, that it should be cut. Would I want to cut the girls' basketball team to save the jazz band? Or would I cut the jazz band perhaps to save the security guards? Without more information, I really can't make that decision. I would hope that our new superintendent would be looking at the budget all year long, and would also hope that he or she would be continually meeting with all department heads, union personnel, and administrators, and evaluating what is going well and what needs improvement. This information should be continually reported to the board. This needs to be done on a deliberate, transparent manner rather than at the last minute. Feedback is very important when you're making responsible choices. And I also think relationships between the staff and administration is important. If I had to choose this year how I would cut the deficit, I would recommend a percentage cut across the board.
Thank you, Missy. Tia.
To emphasize again what Missy said, any decision has to be made with the input from the community, parents, staff, professional educators, administration. With their input, areas that I would look to fund would be the areas with the greatest academic impact to the greatest number of students, areas that are working to increase the graduation rate, areas that are working to close the achievement gap while raising expectations and standards for all the students. The areas that I would look at cutting would be areas or programs not offered to a large number of students that are not required by law and services that may be redundant. It is important to strive for equitable distribution of funds and services and programs to meet the academic needs for all of the students.
Thank you, Tia. Amy?
We can't have good schools without high-quality teachers and administrators to lead. That being said, the board is evaluating programs and positions based on need and cost. Classes without sufficient enrollment will be combined with other sections or possibly eliminated. It's likely that we'll be looking at larger class sizes in the next years. We will not tolerate losing money on programs such as the summer school, but we will evaluate the effectiveness of having summer school in increasing our graduation rate. Last summer alone, we graduated 19 additional students, which was a record. There are some programs that are mandated and we won't eliminate, such as special education, ELL, and gifted and talented. Again, that is not to say we won't be looking to those programs to make them more efficient. Fortunately, the administrators have been able to assist in identifying positions and programs for cuts. None of these is without impact. They have also included the impact of making cuts and have put their suggestions in a prioritized fashion for us to make informed decisions. Ongoingly, we will be needing to compare administrative overhead with comparable districts. We will need to closely monitor contracts. We may need to combine jobs. We may look at reducing staff or update job descriptions. And we will look for volunteers to take non-instructional positions. The school district will examine all open positions throughout the school year in order to make reductions where possible. Despite these changes and this hardship, I feel we can progress and make good, and with our good schools. Yellow card is up.
That was very good, Amy. Thank you. I don't know about you, but I want to say right here and now that I think these 5 candidates have presented their formal portion of our program in a very outstanding manner. They've thought these questions out. They've given you succinct answers in a very, very interesting manner, and I would like us all to give them a big round of applause.